Is Peter Obi a saint? Don't rush. Don't rush to answer yes or no. Understand the context first. Because context is very, very important. As far as Nigeria's politics and leadership is concerned, is Peter Obi a saint? This question is a very important question that all of us Nigerians must answer. If not, Nigeria is gone. Nigeria is not gone yet, though. Nigeria is still in the ICU. All of the hardship and the problems that we see, they are just still symptoms of a Nigeria that is in intensive care. And if we do not answer this question to show that we truly understand what is required to lead Nigeria, then Nigeria will finally be gone and dead and buried. And you and I will be worse for it. So it is extremely important that we answer this question. Is Peter Obi a saint? Now, if you have not joined PU Marshal, I don't know what you're waiting for. Details are in the description in the description below. Join. Just click the link and find out first what PU Marshal is. Because in this video, I will prove to you beyond reasonable doubt where Peter Obi stands. Whether Peter Obi is a saint, and if he is not a saint, what is he? What is the opposite of saint? Sinner, Abi? So, is Peter Obi a saint? And why is this question very, very important? As we move towards 2027, these are the kinds of questions that Nigerians must answer. In fact, this question comes to number one. If we are able to answer this question correctly, then we have a chance to save Nigeria so that your life and my life can be better. So that this insecurity that Nigerians are suffering can end finally. Is Peter Obi a saint? By the way, shout out to all of you who have been supporting this channel. I have not done a very good job in terms of thanking you people. It takes a lot of maturity, a lot of understanding to watch the kind of videos that I do. And so when I see people like you who watch my videos, know it deep down in my heart, I appreciate you. And it's a sign that you are interested in fixing Nigeria. In fact, if you're still watching this video right now, how many minutes in, it shows that you have the love of Nigeria at heart. You have an interest to fix Nigeria. So for all of you who are really interested in fixing Nigeria, we must answer this question together. Is Peter Obi a saint? And like I said, we will delve into this, and by the end of this video, there will be no doubt in your mind where Peter Obi stands, whether a saint or, like we have established, the opposite, a sinner. When we're opening this, oh, I almost forgot. Shout out to Royal Purple Bee Foundation. Thank you for supporting us on Project Eagle, for being our very, very well appreciated financial partner. Royal Purple Bee Foundation. That is one NGO in Nigeria that understands what we should be supporting. Yes. And in case you don't know, in Refresh Nigeria here, we pride ourselves as the only people who understand the problems of Nigeria in full. We are the only people who understand the problem of Nigeria in full. Many of the so-called experts and analysts that you see and hear on TV, on radio, even on social media, many of them, they only understand Nigeria in part. Some of them understand it 10%, some 20%. The only group of persons that truly understand the problem of Nigeria in full, we are here on Refresh Nigeria. So you will do well to join us on this journey to indeed refresh Nigeria. And once again, shout out to financial partners and technical partners like the Royal Purple Bee Foundation. Let's get to it. Is Peter Obi a saint or a sinner? We have established that context is key. Before you rush to answer yes or no, understand the context first. I know that supporters of Tinubu, supporters of Atiku, people who generally don't like Peter Obi, perhaps because by his cost-cutting measures, took contracts away from them. They naturally will not like Peter Obi, particularly some Igbos who do business in Anambra when Peter Obi was governor. So those people will not like Peter Obi, and they'll be rushing to say, no, Peter Obi is not a saint. And for those of you who love Peter Obi, Obidients, you rush to quickly say, oh, Peter Obi is a saint. Or you may even go as far as saying, okay, fine, Peter Obi is not a saint, but he's better than... No. Don't rush to answer this question. Let us understand the context first. As far as leadership is concerned, as far as politics is concerned, and that is the context in which we are looking, is Peter Obi a saint? Let's not look at it from the context of religion. We are not trying to say, okay, who will make heaven or who will not make heaven. Who is a saint or who is a sinner. That's not what we're trying to do now. Besides, who is a saint and who is a sinner? A saint is somebody who has not committed any sin or whose sins have been forgiven. That is a saint. And right from the time when their sins are forgiven, right? They have not committed any sin. They have truly turned over a new leaf. That's who a saint is. So, in the context of religion, you define a saint by somebody or as somebody who has not committed a sin. Now, somebody can be a perfect Christian and still be a terrible leader. Somebody can be a perfect father and be a terrible leader. Somebody can be a perfect husband and be a terrible father. So context is very, very important. If we're going to truly answer this question, which we must, if not, Nigeria is gone as we move on towards 2027. If we're going to truly answer this question, then we must understand context. In the context of leadership, in the context of politics in Nigeria, is Peter Obi a saint? Now, to answer definitively, remember I promised you that by the end of this video, it will be crystal clear in the minds of haters or lovers of Peter Obi whether or not Peter Obi is a saint. Context. If there is no sin, there can be no sinner. True or false? Every saint has a past. Every sinner has a future. True or false? So, in the context of leadership, in the context of politics in Nigeria, what are the sins that leaders and politicians commit? That is what we will now use to determine whether Peter Obi is a saint or not. And when we do that, it will now be clear why it is absolutely important for us to determine this question as we move towards 2027. What are the sins that our leaders, our politicians commit as politicians? Not as husbands, not as wives, not as mothers or fathers, not as businessmen, not as religious people, but as leaders. What are the sins? Number one, looting. Our leaders in Nigeria, in Africa, are plagued with the problem of looting. Not problem, the sin, because it is a decision you make to loot. That is the number one sin, looting. Number two, corruption. Using your office, public office, to commandeer public funds into private pockets. Corruption. Number three, impunity. Ruling by law and avoiding the rule of law. Impunity. Let's just use these three contexts. If there is any other context you feel we should use, let me know. In fact, let's add the fourth one. Cost of governance. That is a sin. When you have leaders that waste government funds on unnecessary sectors, it's a sin. Because when they do that, the people suffer. Now, based on all of these sins, you have leaders also who, through laws, pension laws, they convert what is supposed to be meant to take care of the public to take care of themselves. These are the political and leadership sins. Please remind me of any, because right now, these are the ones I can just remember. So, in terms of these sins, put Atiku in the context, now in the crosshairs. Put Peter Obi, put Tinubu. Which of them would you say has not committed any of the four sins, and any other one that you might bring? Has Peter Obi committed the sin of looting? Has Peter Obi committed the sin of corruption? Has Peter Obi committed the sin of impunity? Has Peter Obi committed the sin of godfatherism, politics of violence? Has Peter Obi committed the sin of, just think about it, whatever leadership sin, leadership offense, forget whether or not they have been able to prove it or they have not been able to prove it. Because I know many of you will now begin to make arguments. Tinubu too, they have not been able to prove. There are some things that have been able to be proven against him. For example, pension laws. How so much of Lagosians' money is used to service Tinubu? So much of it, while so many Lagosians are suffering. The looting self here, not be small thing. In Pidgin, they will say, na elele. But with Peter Obi, none of these sins he has committed. So definitively, in fact, before I give you my final verdict, are you really interested in fixing Nigeria? Because I have come to find out that many of us are not interested in fixing Nigeria. We are only interested in fixing our pockets. Yesterday, I was talking to somebody I considered a friend. Well, he's still a friend. Because like it or not, we are in this same boat together. And he was telling me that, no, so far as his own is good, Nigeria is good. If the remaining 99% of Nigerians like they can be suffering, so far as his own is good, Nigeria is good. And that is his reason for going to support Tinubu, because he heard that Tinubu has earmarked trillions to rig 2027 elections. So he's targeting his own share out of that trillions. Not verifying whether or not it is true that truly Tinubu has released trillions, so he has not even bothered to verify, but simply hearing, he's already plotting how he can take his share. And then in defending that motive, he comes out to say, oh, if Nigeria better for me. And I'm saying Nigeria don't better like be that now. You see, these people, they are amongst us, and that is why it is important for us to really answer this question. You now watching this video, that have watched this video this long, are you really interested in fixing Nigeria? To making Nigeria work, to stamping out corruption, to stamping out insecurity, to stamping out impunity, to stopping looting of public funds? Are you really interested in it? If you are, then why have you not joined Project Eagle? Why have you not joined PU Marshall? All of this talk that we are talking now, it will all be in vain if we do not have free and fair elections in 2027. If we do not have free and fair elections, we will just be talking in vain. So how do we get free and fair elections? Do you think INEC is structured to give us free and fair elections? Do you think Tinubu is ready to give us free and fair elections? Do you? The truth must be told now. From where I stand, Tinubu knows that in a free and fair election, he loses. And as it is clear now that he wants to continue beyond 2027, I don't think it is in his own interest to allow free and fair election like Jonathan did in 2015. So coalition or no coalition, you cannot outrig a Tinubu by spending money or by use of force. You cannot. Some argue that APC was able to outrig PDP and kick out Jonathan in 2015 because Jonathan, to some extent, allowed free hand for INEC, for Jega. And it was not a do or die thing. He was not desperate to continue in office. At least not desperate enough. Many make that argument. Can you make that argument about Tinubu today? We have been talking of electoral reforms. See how Tinubu has succeeded in silencing the critical stakeholders. 7 critical stakeholders in Nigeria succeeded in silencing them. They are not even talking about electoral reforms. From opposition politician, even opposition politician, would you believe that Senator Ireti Kingibe is in the Senate Committee on INEC and she has not pushed any bill for electoral reform, despite the fact that we on Refresh Nigeria here have submitted a draft of the amendment bill for the Electoral Act. We have submitted a draft, so we have done 90% of the work. But just submit it. Have you heard anything from her in that regard? The only thing we have heard from her is when Randy Peters went to visit her. When we went to visit her, we didn't see her because we also tried. But we posted the documents, the Electoral Act, the Electoral Amendment Act. So even opposition politicians, they're not talking, they're not really doing anything to give us electoral reforms. Traditional rulers, from the north to the south, from the Sultan of Sokoto to the Oni of Ife, how many of them have you heard talking and pushing for electoral reforms? Religious leaders, Muslim, Christian, traditional, babalawos, shrines, how many of them have you heard talking about electoral reforms and calling on INEC, calling on Tinubu, calling on APC to allow free and fair elections, to pass the Electoral Amendment Act, to give us electoral reforms? How many of them? How many entertainers, entertainment leaders? You call them celebrity. I don't see what you're celebrating about them, but you call them celebrity. How many celebrities have you seen throwing their weight fully behind electoral reforms? Aside from Randy Peters and maybe Dele Farutimi, who have taken concrete actions. And of course, here, we on Refresh Nigeria, how many celebrities have you heard throw their weight behind electoral reform? Even very dark man. They talk. Tinubu has found a way to silence critical stakeholders on these electoral reforms. But will he silence you? Will you allow yourself to be silenced? We are in the majority. One with God is majority. So in that regard, we are majority. But even then, in terms of numbers, we are in the majority. And we must all take advantage of our numbers, come together and demand it. If the National Assembly will not pass the Electoral Amendment Act to give us the electoral reform that we need, mandatory electronic real-time transmission, collation, and display of results, if they will not pass that bill, as I don't expect them to reform themselves out of power, we the people must take electoral reforms for ourselves. We must guarantee it. And there's a way to do it that will not put your life at risk. And that is why I ask again, are you sure you're really interested in a Nigeria that works? If Nigeria were to be working, we wouldn't be having this jackpot syndrome that we are having, and Nigeria can work. Many of our young people, they sell all they have, they travel abroad, they go there, they suffer. Some of them make it, and those are the ones that are now repatriating dollars back to Nigeria. They have so much power, but yet they are not allowed to vote. They are now allowed to participate in the politics of their country that they contribute so much towards. So if a Nigeria works for every one of us, we won't have the jackpot syndrome. The diaspora remittances will be put to proper use. Unemployment will be eradicated, or at least brought to the barest minimum. Insecurity will be wiped out. There will be jobs. Poverty totally gone or reduced to the barest minimum. If we have a Nigeria that works, there will be equity. In fact, in a Nigeria that works, there will be no need for secession. So if you want a Nigeria that works, you have to join us in Project Eagle to deploy our 4 solutions to guarantee free and fair elections in 2027. There are 2 big problems that Peter Obi must solve as we approach 2027. Number 1, the ticket problem. Will he get a ticket? In which platform will he get the ticket? Or on which platform will he get a ticket? He has to solve that problem. Is it going to be in ADC? Is it going to be in PDP? Since we hear that PDP is wooing him to come back, even though I don't believe, I may be wrong, that Wike will allow him any space to breathe. Because from where I stand, Wike has been positioned in the PDP to ready the PDP for Tinubu. So one of the problems, the 2 very big problems that Peter Obi must solve to be the next president is, where will he get ticket? Labour Party, 1 leg there. ADC, 1 leg there. I don't know, PDP, another leg there. If Peter Obi has 3 legs now. But more importantly than getting the ticket, because as far as I'm concerned, it looks very, very ready to get a ticket to run. The platform, we cannot yet decide, but ticket, he will surely get. I'm talking about Peter Obi now. But the question, the other big problem that he must solve is free and fair election. Whether Peter Obi is acting in a coalition or whether he is acting alone in a single party, it won't matter if the elections are not free and fair. No coalition, whether it comprises El Rufai, Amechi, and what, no coalition can outrig a Tinubu or an APC. No coalition. The only way Tinubu is defeated is to guarantee free and fair election. That is why all my focus is going to be free and fair elections in 2027. That's my focus. If Tinubu wins in a free and fair elections, so be it. I will be the first to congratulate him, even if every other person says no. Whoever wins in a free and fair elections, Nigerian will accept. But does it look like Tinubu is ready for a free and fair election? See what INEC is doing. See what the police is doing. See what thugs are doing. But then, we the people can come up with people-driven, people-powered solutions. And we have them. We have umbrellaed them. We have given them a title, Project Eagle. The question is, Will you join us? Details are in the description. There are 4 solutions in there that takes care of the critical areas that make rigging successful. Weaponization of poverty, weaponization of impunity, weaponization of political party. Yes. And then the 4th one, I can't remember now. Think about it. So, it's either you really want Nigeria to work and you are supporting Project Eagle, or you are supporting Tinubu for a second term. There is no middle of the road. No middle of the road at all. And of course, we must answer critical questions. Who is a saint and who is a sinner? So, let's answer it finally before we go. Is Peter Obi a saint or a sinner? As far as Nigeria's politics is concerned, as far as leadership in Nigeria is concerned, with regards to the political sins that are possible, sin of impunity, sin of corruption, sin of looting, sin of wasteful spending, sin of lack of investment. With regards to this sin, Peter Obi has not committed any single one of them. But you cannot say the same about a Tinubu or an Atiku or whatever. They have committed at least one of them, if not all of them. But for Peter Obi, he has not committed any single one. And where there is no sin, there is no sinner. So, is Peter Obi a saint? The answer definitively yes. In fact, Peter Obi is not just a saint. Peter Obi, as far as the politics and leadership of Nigeria is concerned, is an angel. So as we look towards 2027, look to Peter Obi. Help him to become the next president of Nigeria by making sure the 2027 election is free, fair, and credible. And the only way to do that, Project Eagle, PU Marshall. If you don't volunteer, it cannot work. So you are very, very important in this equation. Links are in the description. And let's not forget, we are the only group of people that understand the problem of Nigeria in full. Others understand it in part. There are 7 pillars of corruption that must be destroyed if Nigeria is to be free. We'll talk about these 7 pillars in another video. Thank you for watching.